Cool. Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here in this beautiful ancient Roman city of Sofia. And a bit like the ancient Roman Senate, what you're going to see now is a bit of a debate. I'm going to talk about how the world is radically changing, and my friend Bradley is going to put forward the case that maybe not so much. The only difference from the Romans, obviously, being less of Caesar's decrees and more storage fees. But yeah, let's get on with it. I'm Max. This is me. I spent 6 years at Amazon before founding eComtent. Specifically, I worked in search and catalog quality and customer browse experience for the launch of Amazon Singapore. I then spent some time freshening up on AI in Mila, which is an institute in Quebec from Canada. And now I've been working at eComtent for 3 years, and we are focused on helping e-commerce sellers to optimize for AI search. So yeah, if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, you can scan there, but I'll be around later, so you can connect with me in person. So we are at a similar inflection point as the early 2000s, when Google went from having 10% of Yahoo's search volume to 10 times it. Back then, there was a major innovation called the PageRank algorithm. Perhaps many of you are familiar with it. Google would basically understand the quality of each page based on the authority of other pages linked to it, and by this new AI algorithm, the old kind of deterministic AI, they could understand what is the best pages to serve for customers. And this previous shift had some winners, most notably TripAdvisor. Maybe you're familiar with it. I don't know how big it is over here in the Balkans, but they got to a 14 billion peak market cap, 200 million monthly organic traffic, and the way they did this was basically hacking this old algorithm. So they had hundreds of thousands of relevant backlinks, hotels in Sofia, restaurants in London, places to go out in Paris, you name it, they had a page for it. And very smartly, they put awards out on their website that they gave to restaurants and hotels, and it would link back to their site. And the hotels would do this because obviously they want to show, oh, I've got a 5-star review in TripAdvisor. But they basically hacked this algorithm, got lots of backlinks to their pages, worked out that they needed hundreds of thousands of relevant landing pages for keywords that people were typing in, hotels in Sofia, and they were a big winner of this previous AI shift. But there are also losers, as there always is in this competitive world. Virtual tourist. Anyone here heard of virtual tourist? Wow, one person, that's amazing. Normally no one's heard of them. So they actually started the month before TripAdvisor, and they went out of business in 2017. Many reasons why they lost, of course, but if you listen to the CEO of TripAdvisor on podcasts like I have, you will hear that SEO was a major part of their strategy. So we're now in an era where large language model, or LLM, search is becoming the new default, both on marketplaces and off marketplaces. We all know RUFUS, I'm going to be talking about that a little bit, but also ChatGPT. We're hearing all these rumors circle about ChatGPT integrating Shopify. This is absolutely the future, and it's not just the future, as I'm going to talk about, it's here now. Back in December last year, ChatGPT had 1 billion messages a day, which is incredible if you think that Google has 8 billion and Amazon has 2 billion. So they're fast, they're catching up. It was the 8th most visited website in the world. And this again, they're growing at 50% month for month user acquisition, something crazy like this. 60% of adults have used an AI chatbot to do product research in the last 30 days. And again, this is a trend that is exploding and continuing. So today, I'm going to talk to you about the 3 key AI chatbots that I've been spending 3 years researching and learning about with my team: ChatGPT, RUFUS, and COSMO. We're going to start off with some little hacks and tricks, and then we're going to get into more of the science behind it because, as I'll show you, Amazon very generously published all of their science. So ChatGPT. If you want to rank on ChatGPT and get your brand mentioned there, the first step, of course, is to do an audit. So just put in your brand name, see what comes up. And when I did this, what I found for my own business was many of the articles linked to were very old, and I didn't feel personally that it represented my brand well. So I went back to all of these articles, I emailed them, I say, hey, this is 2 years old, can you update this, can you change this, can whatever. And hopefully now, if you look us up, it's going to look different. But this is a screenshot of when I first did this. Step 1, audit the business, understand how you're appearing. The second step is to create a custom GPT. So we did this. Obviously, we helped sellers to rank on Amazon COSMO. I'm going to explain a lot more about what Amazon COSMO is. But we made a custom GPT. It's had thousands of interactions. It's got a good star rating. But we are telling ChatGPT specifically what we do. So we're feeding it with information, right? And if you're selling, I don't know, dog harnesses or whatever you'd be selling, you could make a custom GPT about how to walk your dog or whatever it be, take care of your dog. And you are telling ChatGPT what your brand does and what's important and why customers should come for you. The third way to do this is to optimize for Bing. So Bing, as you probably know, Microsoft invested a couple $1 trillion or $1 billion, can't quite remember, maybe 100 billion, whatever it was, into ChatGPT. ChatGPT is using Bing as their indexer. So if you haven't got your business into Bing, it's time to do that. It takes 5 seconds. Again, this is screenshots from when I did this a while ago. You can go on Bing Webmaster Tools. You can go on Bing Places for Business. You just copy across from your Google, which I assume you guys have all got set up. And then you're going to be indexing ChatGPT. It's going to understand where your business is, what's it based, a short description, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the last step, and maybe the hardest step, is to actually get into the training data of the next models. And the way you get into the training data of the next models is by partnering with those who have, getting mentioned by those who have got partnerships with OpenAI. So this is Axios, Wall Street Journal, et cetera, who have enabled ChatGPT to train on their data. So if you guys get a blog or whatever in these places, you're going to be in the training data for ChatGPT. So that's ChatGPT. Hopefully that was interesting. Have to take more questions at the end. Now we're going to talk about RUFUS, which is probably top of mind for many of you guys. So I think the first question when we talk about RUFUS or anything Amazon is, why are they doing this? Why are they forcing this new AI chatbot on all of their customers? And the answer is, the way we can look at these answers is by looking at how Amazon thinks itself and how they address their shareholder letters. These are an incredible resource. I've honestly read all of them. It's a great way to understand how the leadership of Amazon think. And Jeff Bezos, back in 2016, said, customers are always beautifully, wonderfully dissatisfied, even when they report being happy and business is great. Even when they don't yet know it, customers want something better. No customer ever asked Amazon to create Prime membership program, but it sure turns out they wanted it. And this is the ethos of Amazon, customer obsession. As I mentioned, maybe you couldn't hear me because of the mic, I worked there for 6 years, and I know we have some Amazonians here. I don't know where they are, but there's some of them. Customer obsession runs through the heart of the company, and this means even doing stuff that the customers don't even know they want. That's what true customer obsession is. And then we have a more direct quote on this AI stuff from the latest shareholder letter from Andy Jassy. Generative AI is going to reinvent virtually every customer experience we know. You'll see AI change the norms in search, shopping, personal assistance. Some of these areas are already seeing rapid progress. If your customer experience aren't planning to leverage these intelligent models, their ability to query large corpuses of data and quickly find your needle in the haystack, their ability to keep getting smarter with more feedback and data, and their future agentic capabilities, you will not be competitive. So Amazon are literally saying this, and in my opinion, and maybe the Amazonians here agree with me, part of these letters shareholders obviously to the shareholders, but a lot of it is to the company. And I know that the leadership, I've been told, obviously I don't know these guys, but I've been told the leadership spend a lot of time writing these to try and get the whole company aligned behind their vision for the year. And this is what they're saying, internally, externally, and to all the investors. So let's talk about why RUFUS is a superior customer experience. And of course, like most of you here, probably all of you here, I'm an Amazon customer. I'm pretty bougie, so I was looking for an new office chair, but I wanted it to be heated and to be a massage chair. And as you can see, I also want it to be over 4 stars. I know Amazon, and I want something highly reviewed. I put in this query to RUFUS, a sentence or two, and I got the chair that I wanted. I ordered it, and it's a fantastic order. In traditional search, on the keyword massage office chair, my purchase was not even in the top 10. None of the top 10 had organic 4-star reviews. And also, it's just overwhelming choice of tons of the same thing. And I get the argument, you could say, yes, you can filter and this and that, but actually, it's easier just to write in what you want and get an output and buy it because you trust Amazon to build the best AI for shopping. Another example, ski gloves. I know you can ski here in Bulgaria. Hopefully, I'll do that one day. But I'm no expert in ski gloves. I don't want to trawl through 2,000 ski gloves. I just want Rufus to give me one that's 4.5 stars and in my budget. And yeah, they were great, and I had a beautiful holiday. This shift is going to, and we'll talk about how big it is now, but it's going to be bigger than mobile. When I started at Amazon, 30% of searches were on mobile, and now 80% are on mobile. And in my opinion, this is going to be steeper and more radical than that last technology transformation, and we're already seeing that. So the big question, the million-dollar question, how many people are actually using Rufus today? And Amazon have not yet published any data on this. However, AWS did write a blog about this because they were busy trying to sell their infra chips, and they told us how much chips they used for Rufus. So if we work through the maths quickly, 80,000 chips gives us 3 million tokens. If we assume that a query on Rufus is the same as a query on Perplexity, which is about 10 to 11 words, then we have 10 to 11 words, and then we assume that we have 1.5 tokens per word, which is roughly how AI works, it's not one-to-one. Then we have 275 million queries a day it can support, which is about 14% of 2 billion searches. So a lot of maths there, but basically Rufus is big now, today, roughly 14% of searches are using it. And I don't know how familiar you guys are with AWS, but the whole point of AWS is that they scale up infrastructure based on usage. That's the entire business model. So the fact that they're using 80,000 chips means, obviously we don't know how long the queries are, but roughly 40 in this region of searches. And soon, as we're going to see with Alexa Plus, search will start with speech. So 32% of homes already have an Alexa, including mine. 50% of us use voice search daily, including, I'm sure, many of us. And we're going to see that transformation from typing in 1 or 2 words to people just talking into their phones with the Claude integrations that Amazon are rolling out and everything else. So, as I mentioned in the introduction, the beautiful thing about Amazon, especially as a service provider and a software company, is that they publish all of their science papers. And they literally tell us how everything works. And I'm not sure why they do this, but it's common practice for Amazon, Google, all of these big companies just to publish this all stuff. Famously, the LLM paper came from Google. All you need is attention paper. They published that, and then ChatGPT jumped on it. So they do this for the scientific community, but also it can help us to understand what's going on. And in this paper, they talk about subjective product needs. So these are the 5 things that Rufus is looking for in the science paper. Number 1, what's the subjective property? What's the adjective describing the product? Are you a colorful dress? Are you a sturdy table? Number 2 is the event. When are people buying a product? Is it Easter? Is it for pregnancy? What is the event people purchase for? Number 3 is the activity. Are you for running? Are you for gaming, et cetera, et cetera? Number 4 is a goal. Why are people actually buying your product? And the last one is audience. And audience is super important. Who are you targeting? If you get these 5 things into your listing, you are more likely to be picked up by Rufus. We have seen it time and time and time again. And it also, as I'm about to explain, is not just Rufus these have, but it's also in the back end of COSMO, which is feeding everything. All of Amazon is now transitioned to COSMO. So as a COSMO, good segue. So COSMO, how many of you guys have heard of COSMO, just as a show of hands? Not many. Okay. So COSMO is Amazon's common sense algorithm, is what it stands for. They basically have put a large language model into the search, all of the search in the back end, not just Rufus, but the entire thing. And the reason they do this is for increased personalization, as we'll come to discuss. But basically, this is an extract from the science paper. They trained COSMO on millions, hundreds of millions of data points, their own data points and purchase data points from the web, to build this kind of common sense large language model that understands the needs of customers. It's live. Key fact to say, it's absolutely live. When they released this paper in February 24, so over a year ago now, they said they did a test on 10% of US traffic. It saw a 0.7% increase in product sales. And if they were to roll this out, it's going to be worth billions for the company. We've just seen great results. They posted from everything we've seen in all of the testing in all of the marketplaces. COSMO's rolled out everywhere. And of course they would, because they want to get that additional revenue from that additional conversion. And again, a crazy stat to think about. You can't really see this on this screen, but this is from the Search Engine Journal. 94% of AI overview links are different from organic search results. And you may have seen this if you Google yourself, you see the AI overviews, it's a totally different thing. And this is because the large language models work very differently, which I'm about to explain. So how can you future-proof? 3 key things: intent-based matching, understanding the customer and why they're buying the product, and putting that on your listing. Secondly, visual content. These AIs are multimodal. They understand images as well as text. So you need to be doing SEO, or what we call GEO, as I say in my presentation, on the images as well as the copy now. And then lastly, continuous monitoring and optimization. So keywords don't matter as much in brackets. And I'll give you a very short scientific explanation of why. Hopefully you'll stay with me. So when a user puts in a prompt, the prompt, as we discussed before, is broken down into tokens. These tokens are numerical values. They don't match one-to-one to words. Tokens are then compressed. The reason tokens are compressed is for compute and speed. The stuff isn't quick to do. And also, as you may know, NVIDIA now being the largest company or one of the most valuable companies in the world, it's super expensive to run. So they take the user's prompt, which is words, they break it down into tokens, which are numerical values, and then they compress it. And then it goes into the AI. Then it gets all its knowledge from its training data, the common sense knowledge that Amazon have trained. And then out comes the answer. So your keyword is not even getting into the LLM in point 1. It's not getting there. What's getting in there is a bunch of tokens, which are kind of computer speak. And this is spoken by someone who understands A9, who worked on search for 3 years, and understands when, in the old days of A9, you'd put in a search word, and we would literally stack rank on that search word. What's the best price? What's the best reviews? What's the best conversion? All of this stuff. This is a totally different technology. Totally different technology, and that's what I really want to emphasize. Instead, what they're doing is personalization. It's all about the intent of the customer, and they give the example in their science paper. If a pregnant woman is searching for shoes, they will identify that woman as pregnant. They have lots of data on all of their customers, and they will give her slip-resistant shoes, even if the seller doesn't put that in slip-resistant in the listing. Now, obviously, if you had the word in there, and if you had images of pregnant women wearing the shoes, you'd do better, inarguably, and that's what we help do at eContent, is create that visual and written content. But it doesn't matter. The algorithm is smart enough to pick up personalization of the customer and match it. And what do they say you need to do to optimize in the COSMO paper? It's going to sound very familiar. They talk about common sense relations in this paper. It's basically the same as subjective product needs, the function, the event, the audience, the concept, the body part, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I could honestly go through and show you 10 science papers which says the same thing in different language and ways, but the same concepts over and over again, because these AI models are super smart. They're beyond human intelligence now, and they are getting the best product to their customer. As I mentioned, search is multimodal. They brought multimodality into search. And Amazon, as we know, or as you may know, has recognition. This basically can understand the images in the text, the images in the listing, sorry. So they are ranking you on the basis of your images as well as your copy now. And so is Shopify. I heard a really interesting podcast from the VP of product at Shopify saying they're working out what is a balance to show between images and text now, because it's not clear how much you should wait for each one. And I can tell you, when I was working in search, one of the biggest problems we had is that sellers would put in if I'm wearing a blue V-neck, sellers would put in blue, green, yellow, pink, whatever, to try and hit those different keywords. Being multimodal was helpful because if the customer puts in blue, you can show them stuff that is actually blue rather than this random mix of stuff, because sellers have put in all these different colors in the copy. This isn't just theory, this is practice. We live and breathe this at eContent. I'm going to show you a quick example before I wrap up. So this is one of our customers. Before they used us, they didn't have any infographics or anything. You ask a question on RUFUS, and it just, the product doesn't include the product details in the listing. With us, we generate visual and written content. You can't really see, unfortunately, the infographics and the lifestyle images. But the RUFUS will actually bring these infographics into the answer for customers. This increases their conversion rate, but also this increases the overall sales. And as you can see here, this customer was about 60 in the bestseller rank. They went down to 25 in a couple of months because they optimized for the algorithms. And they also, critically, and this is the point about COSMO being everywhere, they were even number 1 on their keyword, a glass cigar case. And even with a terrible, we don't really do main images at eContent just yet, and terrible main image there, and also only 15 reviews compared to their competitors. They still hit number one because they're optimizing for the algorithm. They got higher conversion than their competitors. Skip through this. Yeah, so how do we do this? We've got a patent in this technology. What we do is we connect to your Amazon account. We look at the demographics, the conversion rates, similar top-selling listings, and then we generate visual and written content which is optimized for AI. We generate A+ content. We still have the keywords in the tool. You can see there, we still do that. We generate, this is actually less good. We've just rolled out image gen and a GPT 4.0, so better images than here. I haven't updated my slides yet. And yeah, you can get 50% off. If you're interested, you can scan there, and I'm happy to take any thoughts, questions, feelings. Yeah, go on.
How this RUFUS thing impacts the PPC? Because obviously when people search by voice,
yeah,
so they don't get paid the results yet.
Yeah. So I won't claim to be an expert in PPC. I'm definitely not. I'm 100% focused on organic. That's what we've been focused on in the business. In my personal opinion, and this is my personal opinion, I think PPC is going to change radically. I think what's going to happen is if you're Andy Jassy and you're sitting there and you've got a $1 trillion AWS business because everyone's building on top of AWS, including us, because they're switching in all these different AI models and building their infrastructure, all these companies building on AWS, and then you've got a 20, 30 billion, whatever it is, PPC business, I think you say we're leading in on AI and we're going to change how PPC works. I don't know how it's going to look, but my sense is that you ask a question and you get the answer, and it's going to be the best possible answer based on all of these models, and Amazon is going to win in that, the best AI agent for shopping. And I think that will be their focus. And I don't know how PPC will fit in that, but I think the days of blue links is going to be numbered. We already see Perplexity, we see ChatGPT. There's a risk now because if one of them makes the search experience worse, everyone's just going to move somewhere else. So I don't know is the answer, but I think it's going to be less important in general, is my personal view. Questions, anything else? Cool. So yeah, if you're happy to talk to you if you want to. I'm around all day. So yeah, thank you so much.